Welcome to the Mind of Psyche, where we talk music, addiction, comedy, culture. If you like this content, please leave feedback and subscribe. Let's get into it. On this episode, I want to discuss goals. Short-term, long-term, everything in between, just straight goals. Do we plan them? How do we logistically put them into effect? There's a lot of questions with this, and I'm going to break down my philosophy on that because there are definitely differences, which we all know. We all know that there are differences between short-term goals, long-term goals. Usually short-term, 6 months, 1 to 6 months. Long-term, 1 to 5 years. Examples. A short-term goal, roughly within 6 months, something to that nature, maybe even up to a year. I think that would be a little bit further out than a short-term. My idea of a short-term goal for me and how I realistically use it is, and how to figure out the duration is definitely 1 to 3 months. And I also do like little steps, little times. So for instance, compartmentalize even your small goals down to even days, meaning I'm going to do X amount of this per day. And then at the end of the week, I'll look back and see if I made any progress. And when I'm looking back, I will see how much progress I've made, if I made any, and then I will adjust. I'm not looking for a huge amount of progression during that week. I'm looking for any, because even if I see some progress, done something, and I can move forward with that, even if it's incremental, I can still use that to step up. And what I mean by that is I use the baby steps effect, which basically means, in my lingo, that means that I've little by little to see progression and then move forward on top of that. So it's like walking upstairs, like walking up steps. It gives me more of a motivation to see smaller accomplishments to that goal. And it helps me in my brain continue on and do better and better and better. And let's say that 1 week I look at it and I didn't make any progression. Well, then reanalyze whatever that goal step was the prior 4, 5, 6, 7 days, however you have them structured, and think about what you maybe did different that particular day or that particular few days, and see if you can adjust it somehow. Then revisit it the following week. I like to use weight loss as a great example for a short-term goal. And what I mean by that is, let's say I want to lose 20 pounds in 3 months. Let's just say I've came up with that number because that's my past number, that I've lost 20 pounds in a 3-month time frame in the past. To begin, I would analyze my past behaviors, meaning eating, did I exercise, how long did I exercise for, how many days a week did I exercise, how many cheat days did I have, did I write in a food diary, did I keep calorie count, meal prep, etc., etc. So when I start and prep for the first week, I know what I did before, so I have an idea of how I can do better going forward. And moving on week to week, I can better analyze for the next week and so on and so forth. So let's say the first week, I want to do 25 minutes of cardio 3 times a week. I'm going to document that somehow, whether it's in my brain, whether it's in some type of app, writing it down, doing some documentation, so I know when I have this meeting with myself at the end of the week, I'll know, okay, the goal was 2 pounds, let's say, and I met that. Awesome. You can move forward. What about if I only lost 1 pound? Well, I'm still not going to be down because I at least had some progression, But how do I get it to that 2 pounds? Well, maybe one day I accidentally ate more than the calories I was allotted. Let's say I didn't exercise for 25 minutes. I exercised for 15. The reason why I bring that up is because I know me, and we all know our internal instinct and how we operate. But even though we only lost that 1 pound, that's still progression. We were still able to work out, maybe not the whole time that our goal was set up for, but we at least got some little bit of gratification from at least a little bit of some progression. And then maybe the week after that, I'll add an extra 3 minutes per day to exercising. And then I'll get a little bit stricter on the diet, bringing down the caloric intake, the carbs, whatever, a little bit further. Not starving, nothing like that, but just making these small little changes week by week so your body isn't all of a sudden starving. And when you're at the gas station, you see a Yabba Zabba and ho-hos and chips and all of these other things, and you buy them, you go out to your car, and you go on a binge of eating everything that you just bought. Now that might be a lapse for that particular day. And then the next day, you get back on your routine. What I've learned over the years of dieting, what works, what doesn't, I can honestly say that for me, the best steps were in moderation and never going overboard, never starving yourself. And I've done all of that before. I've done all of that. It's not healthy. And you're gonna, if in this analogy, you're gonna probably gain the weight back. And I'm a great example of that. And you're gonna gain that weight back plus another 20%, because at a point, you just want to give up. But with the example of going into the Circle K and grabbing all that candy, it's okay every once in a while, but don't make it a regular routine. Same thing with sodas. Same thing with going to fast food joints. All of this in moderation. And then after, if you keep on going through that routine of exercising, eating the best you can in given circumstances, you're more likely to feel healthier physically, mentally. And because you've been doing that prior, you have some motivation to move on. And at that 3-month mark, you noticed, hey, I had a couple of, bad eating days or no exercising days, but I lost the 30 pounds, the 25 pounds, the 20 pounds. There was results at the end. Now, long-term goal, 100 pounds. Yeah, that's another 70, but let's add in a year for that 70 pounds. Now, when you're going into that, you've already lost that 20, 25, 30 pounds. So you have that motivation to continue. And you've already done 3 months of exercising, eating right, maybe journaling, doing something you didn't do prior to even that episode of weight loss. So you're going into this year plan with all the extra knowledge and the know-how, the motivation. It will make it, I'll tell you, it'll make it a little bit easier, even on a mental side, because you're still going to struggle, right? You're still going to have an idea of, okay, yeah, I lost that, but this is more than double that weight. And then you may feel like you can't do it, because there's got to be pros and cons to this. We've all had goals that we've failed, that we've succeeded with. We're human. That's the fact of the matter. We're going to make mistakes, but for those short-term goals, continue to focus on improving, adding longer workout sessions, to get better and better. Now, at the end of that year, you've lost that additional 70 pounds. So within that 15 months, you've lost that 80 to 100 pounds. And that's a whole nother person. You're a whole nother person. And why I'm saying this is because I've done it a few times in my life. And what I mean by that is I've lost a large amount of weight in a short period of time. But every time I've done that, I've gained the weight back plus. But every time I do that, I also learn and I educate myself of what and what not to do. Even with those short goals with the weight loss, I know by seeing results, either in my mental clarity, my weight loss, the whole thing, there was that improvement in that time. Let's talk long-term goals, such as school or maybe buying a house. It's something that ranges between a year, 5 years, something that will take a little time, but at the end of it, you'll gain so much more. Whether it be if you want to go to college, that's what I would consider a long-term goal. Saving up to buy a home or an extravagant vacation. Or let's say you want to write a book or even buy a farm and start growing vegetables, animals, what have you. So those are my examples of long-term goals. And the majority of the human race have goals. Short-term, long-term, we all have them. We all want to accomplish them. We all fail at them sometimes. We all succeed. It all depends. You need to try and even begin, because you don't know if you're going to fail or you succeed if you don't even try. If you don't start the process, you don't know. So it's at least worth it to try out the goal. And hey, make a day goal. And that kind of fits into the whole baby step effect. Yeah, I don't really even know if that's like a phrase. I just think it sounds pretty cool. Don't know. Anyways, just throw it in the comments. If you hate it, you love it, whatever. Also, the failure part is very important too. Meaning, if you fail and you stop, well, technically that's failing. But if you fail and you begin again and you try, well, that gives you another opportunity to that goal to be successful. Or you fail again, but you keep on getting back up. And you'll see that in yourself, I believe, in a way, that people that fail, but they don't give up, there's a little something in them. There's that courage, there's that motivation, there's that love that they have in them that not everybody on planet Earth has the desire, the will, or the ability to continue. The uniqueness of that trait to not give up is awesome. Now, I've talked about short-term and long-term goals, gave examples of both of them, the duration of both of them, the amount of time it takes to achieve those goals, and how to end with a good result, to a satisfying personal result. This brings me to the question of how small goals are sometimes more meaningful because they make up the larger goal. They're the foundation of the larger goal. And that doesn't mean that the larger goal isn't important. It's the fact that at the day one goal, you were in a whole different mindset that you were when you passed that 366 day mark, that 2-year mark, that 3-year mark. So it's a little bit more, I think, engraved in you. And why I bring this up, I had a conversation with a dear friend the other day. He gives me a lot of good ideas about different topics. And when he mentions these different topics, it gets my brain thinking, oh, this would be a good episode, because you can incorporate goals, the short term, the long term, with mental health, with physical health, and you can intertwine them. And once you do that, once you see the whole circle, it makes a little bit more sense of the importance of both. Because the way I look at it too is, yeah, you have a long-term goal. Let's just say you set a long-term goal of 5 years, you want to save $10,000. Okay. You got to start officially with the smaller goal of A, opening up account, B, having income to be able to add to that account so it can grow into that sum in that amount of time. So technically you are doing those small little steps, the baby step effect, no matter if you have a short-term goal, a long-term goal, whether you successfully meet that goal, fail on that goal, at least you can tell yourself you tried. The last thing I want to mention is maybe one of the most important things that I've learned over time. Don't set a goal, short term or long term, to high. Don't make it so huge that you can't get to it, that you can't succeed at it. And that goal would be, you're going to be Elon Musk in 5 years. You're going to be Stephen Hawking in 5 years. You're going to be Brad Pitt in 5 years. Well, the Brad Pitt thing, possibly because of the acting, and you can become a huge star. But I digress. With Stephen Hawking, with Elon Musk, with pioneers and geniuses in all fields, that's not a goal. That's something that is 9 times out of 10 not a goal that is attainable, because to the regular Joe or Joanne, to get to that, let's say, wealth and technology genius of Elon, the brain of Stephen Hawking, they're that slim majority, which means in this long-winded ending, don't think the average person is going to make it to those successes because, number one, they don't have that intelligence, and it's nothing against them. I'm the same way. I have nowhere near that intelligence, that brain processing, or the gumption to be able to do that kind of stuff, to have that mind. So I'm not going to set myself up, because that's a guaranteed failure. And that's just the truth. That makes no sense to work yourself up and beat yourself to get to that point. Not saying it's impossible, because there are people throughout history that have obtained that. You also don't want to let yourself down. Be real with yourself and make goals that are achievable, basically. Because if you have that mentality that you can get to that point and you don't make it, there goes your motivation, there goes your confidence in yourself, there goes all of that down the drain. It's great to have, when you're 5, you have a dream of being a baseball player, of being an astronaut, of being a cop. And by the time you get in high school and you grow up a little, you realize that maybe that's not for me, or you just have a different mindset. And that's okay. But what I'm getting at is dreams. It's great to have goals at different ages, through high school, through college. Your mind's still developing. You have different ideas. You have different needs. You have different wants. The most important thing, be happy and live your life to the best ability that you can, because only you can do you. I'm out. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe and leave a comment. You can hear me on all major platforms and socials under the Mind of Psychic podcast. See you next time.